A parent dealing with two children constantly fighting for dominance doesn't solve the problem through fair mediation or equal punishment. The Machiavellian parent identifies which child's alliance serves their long-term peace and authority better, then systematically empowers that child while subtly undermining the other's position. They might give the favored child subtle privileges like choosing television shows or slightly later bedtimes, framing these not as rewards but as natural consequences of being more reasonable, thereby training both children that compliance with the parent's preferred hierarchy yields benefits while resistance brings nothing but frustration. This isn't about fairness, it's about establishing a power structure where one child becomes the enforcer of the parent's will. Eliminating the rival through co-option and making rebellion not just against the parent but against the new family order. In a family argument over a teenager's rebellious behavior, a Machiavellian parent wouldn't engage in direct confrontation. Instead, they would strategically isolate the teenager by turning other family members into allies. They might privately confide in the younger siblings, saying, "I'm worried about your brother. His anger is making things difficult for all of us," or enlist the other parent by framing the behavior as a shared threat to household harmony. By doing this, they transform a one-on-one conflict into a collective issue, making the teenager's defiance seem like an attack on the entire family rather than just parental authority. The parent eliminates the teenager's ability to rally support, forcing them to either submit or stand entirely alone, a position most will naturally abandon. At a school science fair, a student sees their project is inferior to a rival's. Instead of trying to improve last minute, they might engage in subtle sabotage by accidentally spilling water on a critical component of the rival's display or spreading a rumor that the rival received excessive help from their parents, thereby undermining the authenticity of their work. The goal isn't to make their own project better, it's to make the rival's project seem worse in the eyes of the judges, leveling the playing field by dragging down the competition rather than elevating themselves. In a workplace team vying for a single promotion, a Machiavellian employee wouldn't just work harder. They would deliberately withhold crucial information from their rival, waiting for them to make a mistake in a meeting due to incomplete data. Then, in a calm and helpful tone, they would step in to correct the error, publicly demonstrating their own competence while making the rival appear unprepared and unreliable. This move eliminates the rival's credibility not through aggression, but through a calculated display of superior readiness, positioning themselves as the obvious choice for leadership. During a business negotiation, a company facing a smaller but innovative competitor doesn't just lower prices. They launch a whisper campaign among shared clients, suggesting the competitor is financially unstable or about to be acquired, raising doubts about their long-term viability. They might even dangle a fake acquisition offer to distract the competitor's leadership and create internal uncertainty, causing them to hesitate on key decisions and lose momentum. This strategic manipulation eliminates the threat not in the market, but in the minds of their customers and the competitor itself, making the actual product almost irrelevant. A manager dealing with a toxic but highly productive employee doesn't tolerate the behavior or fire them outright. They instead assign them to a critical but isolated project with no team interaction, effectively quarantining their negative influence while still extracting their value. They then simultaneously mentor a more agreeable but less skilled employee to gradually take over the toxic employee's key responsibilities. Once the replacement is ready, the manager eliminates the rival by making them redundant, having transferred their value to a more compliant asset. Two siblings constantly arguing over inheritance expectations might find a Machiavellian parent strategically using those tensions to their advantage. The parent might privately tell one child, "Your brother is already trying to claim the antique vase you love," knowing this will provoke a reaction. This manipulation forces the siblings into direct conflict with each other, distracting them from questioning the parent's overall decisions and keeping the parent firmly in control as the ultimate arbiter of who gets what, thereby eliminating any unified challenge to their authority. In a school group project where one domineering student tries to control everything, a Machiavellian teammate wouldn't openly challenge them. Instead, they would quietly rally the other members around a different approach, then present it as a unified consensus in front of the teacher, making the domineering student appear stubborn and out of touch with the group. This isolates the rival and strips them of their influence without a direct confrontation, effectively eliminating their leadership through pure alignment. A salesperson competing with a colleague for the top quarterly bonus doesn't just try to close more deals. They might accidentally misdirect a promising lead from their rival to themselves, or feed the rival outdated information about a client's preferences, causing them to waste time on an ineffective pitch. By the time the rival realizes the sabotage, the salesperson has already secured the client, eliminating the competition through deception rather than superior skill. A parent whose child is being negatively influenced by a friend doesn't forbid the friendship outright, which would only make it more appealing. Instead, they strategically schedule conflicts, suddenly enrolling their child in activities during the time they usually meet, or warmly inviting a more positive friend along on outings, subtly crowding out the undesirable influence. They eliminate the rival friend not through prohibition, but through replacement, making their child's social realignment feel like their own choice. In a workplace where a younger, ambitious employee threatens an established manager, the manager doesn't criticize them. Instead, they praise them straight into a dead-end project, a special initiative that has high visibility but no real budget or authority. They publicly celebrate the employee's passion while privately ensuring they are moved away from any meaningful influence or resources, effectively eliminating them as a threat by diverting their energy into a harmless sideshow. During a family vacation planning session, a Machiavellian teenager tired of their parents' traditional choices doesn't complain. They instead create a detailed, emotionally compelling case for their preferred destination, subtly highlighting how it aligns with their parents' stated values like educational value or safety, while simultaneously pointing out the flaws in their parents' original idea. They eliminate the rival plan not through rebellion, but through superior persuasion, reframing their own desire as the logical extension of their parents' own wishes. A business owner facing a rival company that competes on quality doesn't try to match them. They instead launch a cheaper, simplified version of their product and market it aggressively to the same audience, flooding the market and forcing the competitor into a price war they can't win. This devalues the entire product category in consumers' eyes, eliminating the rival's advantage of quality by making price the only relevant factor. A student running for class president against a popular opponent doesn't just promise better policies. They might secretly create anonymous social media accounts to like all their rivals' old controversial posts, making them resurface in everyone's feeds. They wouldn't create new smear content, they would simply amplify the rival's own past mistakes, letting the audience draw the negative conclusions themselves and eliminating the rival's clean image through their own history. In a corporate merger, the acquiring company doesn't just absorb a rival, they dismantle it. They immediately eliminate the rival's branding, fire key executives to prevent any internal challengers from emerging, and scatter the remaining employees across different departments to destroy any lingering sense of unity or culture. This ensures the rival company is not integrated but erased, its identity completely eliminated to prevent any future resistance. A parent dealing with a know-it-all child who constantly corrects them doesn't engage in debates. They instead wait for the child to make an error, then pounce on it with exaggerated precision, saying, "Are you absolutely sure? Let's look it up together." And making a very public show of verifying the facts. After humiliating the child once or twice in this manner, the child learns that challenging the parent's authority comes with the risk of public failure, effectively eliminating their rivalry through demonstrated superior command of information. A project manager whose authority is being quietly undermined by a subordinate doesn't confront them. They assign them a complex, high-stakes task with ambiguous guidelines and tight deadlines, setting them up for inevitable failure. When the subordinate inevitably struggles or delivers subpar work, the manager critiques them publicly but with a tone of disappointment rather than anger, framing it as a failure to meet the team's standards. This eliminates the subordinate's credibility and reinforces the manager's authority as necessary for maintaining quality. In a bidding war for a house, a Machiavellian buyer doesn't just offer more money. They might write a personal letter to the sellers appealing to their emotions, while simultaneously having their agent suggest to the selling agent that other bids are financed through unreliable lenders likely to cause delays. This dual strategy of emotional manipulation and calculated doubt about competitors eliminates rival bidders by attacking both the sellers' hearts and their pragmatic fears. Finally, in any situation, the modern Machiavellian understands that the most complete elimination of a rival is not their destruction, but their assimilation. They don't want to defeat their enemy, they want to make their enemy's strength their own. They flatter the rival, learn their methods, offer them a position within their own structure, and then slowly drain them of their unique value until they become just another dependent asset. The rival is eliminated not by being removed, but by being made irrelevant, their greatest weapons now pointed in the direction you choose. Then you understand that power is not a static asset but a constant negotiation. You've learned to eliminate rivals and control the board. But the board itself is always shifting. The final skill is not in winning the game, but in continuously redesigning it to your advantage. True power is making the world believe the rules were always yours to begin with. If you are prepared to become the architect of reality itself, not merely a player, then you will subscribe. We will expose how to build a myth so powerful that your authority is never questioned, only accepted as divine law. This is where strategy becomes legend. Ensure you are here to witness it.